In the world of elite tennis, the difference between greatness and immortality often lies in the smallest margins, a few centimeters over the net, a slight change in angle, a single adjustment in mindset. And sometimes, that difference comes in the form of wisdom shared not by a coach, not by a trainer, but by a rival. That was the case for Jannik Sinner, now the world #1, whose evolution as a player can be traced in part to a moment of brutal honesty, delivered by none other than Novak Djokovic. The year was 2022. The setting, Wimbledon. The occasion, a high-stakes quarterfinal where Sinner, young and rising, faced Djokovic, the seasoned giant of the sport. On paper, it was a clash of generations. On the grass, it was a lesson. Djokovic emerged victorious. But it wasn't the scoreboard that made headlines, it was what happened afterward. Sinner's coach, the experienced and highly respected Darren Cahill, wasn't interested in excuses. He wanted answers. And he went straight to the man who had just taken his player apart. On the podcast, Served with Andy Roddick, Cahill opened up about that pivotal moment. He recalled approaching Djokovic not with ego, but with curiosity. "I asked Novak, what did you see out there?" Djokovic didn't hold back. He wasn't cruel. He was clinical, precise, honest in a way that only champions can be, because they've lived it, endured it, dissected it. "Hits the ball great," Djokovic said. "But there's no variation. No variation. No change of rhythm. No shape to the shots. Everything fast, everything flat, everything predictable." Djokovic elaborated. "There's no height over the net. He doesn't come in. He's not trying to bring me forward. I know he returns well, but he's not attacking my serve on the return of serve." In that moment, Cahill saw what Djokovic saw. And more importantly, Sinner eventually did too. Here was a young player with explosive power, extraordinary timing, and limitless potential. But he was still one-dimensional. Still playing checkers while others played chess. What Djokovic offered wasn't just criticism, it was a roadmap. And Jannik Sinner listened. He didn't brush it off. He didn't retreat into pride. He did what true champions do. He absorbed it, reflected on it, and got to work. In the months and years that followed, the Italian's transformation was undeniable. He began to incorporate more variation into his game. Not just power, but placement. Not just speed, but spin. He started using the full geometry of the court, adding height, depth, angles, unpredictability. He worked on his net game. He added the slice. He changed the pace. He learned to mix the rally, to change the flow, to disrupt the rhythm of even the best. And perhaps most crucially, he became a more aggressive returner. He stopped just putting the ball back in play. He began to impose himself. He started attacking, not reacting. By 2025, Sinner had risen to #1 in the world, a title that wasn't handed to him, but earned point by point, match by match, refinement by refinement. And in the background of that journey was a moment that could have been forgotten, a quiet conversation between coach and rival. A shared insight that lit the path forward. It's rare in any sport, rarer still at the very top, for competitors to be so honest, so selfless, so wise. But that's who Novak Djokovic is. He didn't have to share those thoughts. He didn't owe anyone feedback. But he offered it anyway, not out of arrogance, but because he saw something in Sinner worth nurturing. It's the sign of a true sportsman. A true leader. A legend secure enough in his legacy to help build another's. That moment is now etched into the folklore of modern tennis, a passing of knowledge from one great to another emerging. Cahill, ever the professional, took the feedback and translated it into training, strategy, and development. Sinner did the hard part. He internalized the message and turned it into action. Now, when you watch Sinner carve up the court with topspin, slice, drop shots, and pinpoint returns, you see not just his own talent, but the fingerprints of every lesson learned, every piece of advice taken, every hard truth absorbed. Djokovic's analysis wasn't just technical, it was prophetic. He saw the gaps, and in doing so, he helped fill them. This is what legacy looks like. Not just in trophies, but in influence. When one champion helps mold the next, the sport grows stronger. The game moves forward. And in this story, we see tennis at its purest, where rivals teach, students listen, and everyone rises. Because in the end, Novak Djokovic didn't just beat Jannik Sinner at Wimbledon 2022. He helped build the man who would one day rise to #1.